You're listening to The Crunch with Cam Slater, right here on RCR, Reality Check Radio.
Right, now it's time for Cam's Buddies. It's a favourite of all of you out there, and this week we'll find out what they think of Auckland Mayor Wayne Brown's idea to look at introducing congestion charging. My producer has them all lined up and ready to go. Let's hear what Cam's Buddies have to say about congestion charging. Welcome to Cam's Buddies, Paul.
Oh, hi, Ken. How are you?
Box of birds. I've got a little vexing issue for you today. Last week, the Auckland Council voted to investigate congestion pricing. Now, this is Wayne Brown's council, and he was elected to bash Auckland Transport, and he seems to be toadying up to them to want to introduce congestion charging. What do you think about that?
I quite like the idea of congestion charging. I think if congestion charging means that I can get in and out of the city easily at peak times, I'm happy to pay. I think that's an absolute disaster, though, for the businesses that are in town and for the people at large who really can't afford it, because basically it's a persecution of the poor. And I don't think it's fair, whilst it may suit me, because I can afford, if you charge me that, it would make no difference to me, I wouldn't notice it. But I think it's actually a very poor scheme. And I just look and think there's some woke people that have got an agenda that's trying to stop cars from flowing, and they manage to bring it out in everything.
Yeah, I mean,
that's my sort of starting thought on it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Like they're wanting to, I guess the main area they want to charge for is between Penrose roundabout there, all the way through to Green Lane. They've got terrible problems with getting on the motorway there in any case, because they've got very short on-ramps and they've got those stupid traffic lights. So they've kind of caused the congestion, and now they want to charge us for it.
Yes. So what they do is they manage to put a cycle lane at the end of where you come off of Nelson Street there, and that takes a lane. And they put cycleways in all sorts of different places that they don't seem to have much traffic on them, but they take a lane. And down the bottom of town, they've taken a lane. And they do all this to say it's better for you. I think there's a sadist in there that's actually, his whole job is to try and force us out of our cars onto our push bikes or onto our scooters. Doesn't matter if you have a head injury, doesn't matter if you're 80 years old, doesn't matter if you have 3 kids. What we have to do is you must be on a bike and let that be a lesson to you. And I just look at this and I think it's nearly madness. I think that they managed to do a number of things that who knows if the same person is actually enacting these.
Oh, and that part of the motorway from Penrose to Green Lane, every person who lives in South Auckland, who works in or around those areas, or if going further, that could be going further north up to, Albany or some of the industrial areas, they're going to have to travel through that, and they're suggesting $5 each way, so that's $10 onto the costs of a poor person, along with the exorbitant fuel costs that we've got, because we can't seem to plan that either.
Yes, well, see, that $50 that would bring, that's often life and death and food to many people who happen to live south and have to live where their skills can get them a job. And I think it's appalling. I think that to do that to our citizens is just, I mean, they want Auckland to be the most livable city. It sounds like it's the least livable city to me when you have these traffic carry-ons. And that piece of motorway is, as you say, the on-ramps are short, and it's beyond the pale. And it might alleviate, because I think in some other cities they talked about there would be those congestion charges knock 15% of the traffic down. Well, if you plan, like our city's got 1.8 million. If it had 10 million people, cities work with 10 million people, not 1.8. So it's just poor planning, in my view.
Well, in that particular block of area, it's blocked up on the weekends too. When I come back from church on Saturday, I'm always doing 0 miles an hour on the car park known as the Southern Motorway, especially through that area
Exactly.
there. Yeah, and that's at 2 or
But
3
it's all
o'clock
right.
in the afternoon.
Yes, it's all right. We've got a bus lane there, though. That's empty, so that's important.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We've got
And
bus
I
lanes.
just look and I'm thinking, those congestion charges and that piece of why don't we make 6 lanes north and 6 lanes south from Whangarei to Hamilton as a minimum, and then 5 lanes east to west, so from Henderson out to Howick or Maraetoa Beachlands, so that makes our city the most livable city because you can get places without all this carry-on.
Exactly. I mean, it's solving a problem that they created in the first place. And then we hear, in the news that these raised pedestrian crossings cost the council $450,000 each.
Mm. A couple of days ago, I was listening to Andrew Coxina talk about how they're trying to get rid of the downtown car park and selling it to Precinct or someone like that. And they'll net the council less than 50 million. And if they use one of Queen Street, there's a Support Queen Street group.
Yes.
If you use their idea, they'll make 250 million. I mean, it just... And there's a couple of people in the council who they think that they have to have everybody walking no matter who you are and all these things going this way. It's if they were to plan properly and if they were to put a referendum out and ask the people what do they want, who's prepared to get out of their car and catch the bus, because lots of the young people do catch buses, but they also, our city's not designed because there's buses that take you where you don't want to go at times you don't want to get there with people you don't like.
Yeah, exactly. And it's exactly what I've said. Andrew Coxina knows a thing about properties and how to solve these problems. It seems to be smart for him, for the council to actually start listening to people like him.
Well, he knows the value of what they've got, and if the ratepayers are sponsoring the precinct by the term of $200 million when they're saying they're desperate for money and they want to sell the airport and shares and those sorts of things. And I'm not saying selling the airport shares is right or wrong, but I'm saying if you're giving $200 million away because someone that's wanting to be woke and say less car parks is better, I think that car park asset down the bottom of town is an absolute jewel. And I also think that cars travelling into town via that piece of congested road need somewhere to park when they get there.
Yeah, exactly. So it sounds like they have no idea of what the actual issue is, nor any sensible solutions that'll work it out.
No, but they do know how to be woke and green, and when I say green, I mean red, so watermelonish,
Yeah.
and they know how to come up with the silliest ideas possible to affect the most number of people and have them as inconvenienced as possible. Now, it's okay for me. I drive at different times of the day. I don't go in traffic. I make a point of it because I don't need to. I don't need money like most of the citizens, but I do feel for them. I feel for them terribly.
And on that note, we'll wrap that up and I'll go to the next call. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Cam. Take care.
Hello, Jack. Welcome to Cam's Buddies.
Hey, Cam.
I got a little bit of a teaser for you today, mine teaser. The Auckland Council last week voted to investigate deploying some mechanism, they don't know what it is or how they're going to do it, to tax Auckland drivers for driving on the motorway through a couple of busy areas, one being from Penrose to Green Lane and the other being somewhere out west. What's your thoughts on congestion charging, and is Wayne Brown barking up the wrong tree here?
Wayne Brown was an engineer about the same time I was. In retrospect, I think I was better than him. I never met him, but I had high hopes for his engineering ability, but I think he's forgotten all about it. Well, to answer your question, though, rubbish. He needs to sort out other things before he even thinks about that, like the maintenance on the roads. Stop the flooding. When did you last see a cesspit cleaning truck running around? When did you last see a road sweeper running around the roads? Now, when I was an engineer, I'd see them all the time. And once you're an engineer, it never leaves your thoughts. I look around, I've never seen one. Yet we have constant flooding. Who's going to get rid of the road cones? Everywhere I go, I see more and more road cones. And I can tell you, having worked in the council myself, it's so top-heavy now. He needs to actually get rid of all of the top guys that are doing nothing and get more people down there that actually do the work. That way we might get a better flow of traffic.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Wayne Brown was elected on a platform of dealing to Auckland Transport and readjusting their priorities. And it seems like he's drunk the Kool-Aid from Auckland Transport and wants to implement all of their, wildest dreams.
Yeah, it's like people that go to Wellington, who are not bureaucrats. Within 5 minutes, they're bureaucrats. I haven't seen him make one change that he promised to make. Maybe I'm naive, but I haven't seen one.
No, well, that's the thing. He's been in there just over a year. He's got 2 years left to do something. And if this is his grand scheme, is to add impost onto the poorest among us, I mean, someone like you and me or maybe Paul, we don't really care about if you're going to charge us on the road. We'll adjust our lifestyle accordingly because we can do that. But there's plenty of people out there who can't, and I can't see anybody being able to make a case to their boss that says Wayne Brown says to travel at a different time.
Yeah, like Biden and Trump and all those people, I just think he's too old. And I say that because he's basically the same age as me, and damn it, I wouldn't want to do his job. I think he hasn't got enough energy. He's run out of steam. Either that or he's stymied at every front.
But it's not even his roads. He can't even tax on those because it's going to require legislation to be changed. Well, that's going to take ages to get through the government. He hasn't got the government on side on that. I'm pretty sure that no one in National or ACT or New Zealand First thinks this is a good idea. And it's kind of forlorn. But the other thing is, I spoke to Wayne Walker earlier, a councillor, and he seemed to have some good ideas that were around technology. And, by the time they research this and implement it, and here we are, $10 million and God knows how many millions later on congestion charging, there'll be technological solutions like driverless vehicles, driverless buses, that would be a whole lot easier to solve congestion for much cheaper, and the private sector will pay for it.
Yep. He needs to get back to his basic engineering philosophy and get the place working well. I bought a camera that I had to pick up from a downtown place in the weekend. I had to park. It was near Sky City, and I couldn't even get there. And it was pouring with rain. I had to park about 2 kilometres away and walk. And I thought, how the hell does commerce go on in times like this? It was depressing. And then last night, it's a bit off track, I'm walking my dog. Now, I live in Green Lane. I come round through the Ellerslie car park, around the hospital, back up. I couldn't even get across the underpass and the motorway. It was flooded. So I had to walk all the way back. Could have caused a heart attack. My dog, that is.
The dog probably appreciated a little bit of extra exercise.
Yeah, I suppose you can look on the bright side. But I think, oh, man, at night, they never change the lights in the underpass. You risk your life going through there. I know this because one stage when my kids were at Romeo Intermediate, us parents had to form a guard there to stop the riffraff from terrorising the kids going through there, with our phone at hand, ready to call the local cop to come in and arrest the perpetrators. Yeah, there's a lot of bad element around there.
If they ever bothered to
turn up. Anyway, I'm getting
off
track.
Well, no, you raise good points. And the point about sucking the sumps and sweeping the streets. With these cockamamie cycleways, with these little concrete berms that they've built, there's no way that that they can be swept. And so you've got all this leaf matter and detritus all blowing there, being trapped by these concrete berms, which is creating a hazard for the cyclists, which means they don't ride in it now. The 1 or 2 people who use it a week don't ride in there anymore. They ride on the road and take up even more space.
I'm going to say that because the last time I saw a cyclist riding in the so-called bicycle lane, I can't remember. Must be blind. I never see them anywhere.
I haven't seen them anywhere. I mean, I go for a walk early morning in Takapuna. There's a cycleway through the middle of Hurstmere Road. You could fire a machine gun down there for 8 hours solid and not hit a single cyclist.
I think we should do it. You got a Breen gun, haven't you?
A Breen gun and a Vickers. You need belt-fed weapons.
Vickers
to
might
do
be
that.
a bit heavy.
It's the same caliber, but hey, who knows? Yeah, maybe we could do that.
We're joking, but it's not a joke.
No, exactly. All right, Jack, thanks for your comments on that. That's not a winner for you, and we'll talk next week.
See you later. Bye.
Bye. Welcome to Cam's Buddies, Marcus. Good to have you back from the United States of America.
Hey, mate. Yeah, it's good to be back. This is going to be an interesting conversation because I'm kind of out of the loop of all the news that's been going on. So, as you say, I've been over in the States, so it's been wonderful.
Yeah, the driver's paradise.
Well, actually, we did a few Ks. I did about 6,500 miles, did a big road trip across the US from LA to Chicago. So, yeah, there was not much congestion, I must say.
I hope it was all in fuel-sucking V8.
Yeah, we hired a Suburban 7-seater, so I think it was a V8.
Perfect.
Gas, guzzling. Yeah. I thought you'd be proud of me.
Yeah, I am very proud of you that contributing to warming of the planet, because everybody should be able to grow mangoes and pineapples in their back garden, even in Southland.
And by the way, they needed heating up over there too. It was quite cool up in Yellowstone.
Yeah, I imagine so. Hey, you probably missed it, but Auckland Council last week voted to investigate congestion charging on Auckland's motorways, particularly, and this will affect you, out west in a couple of areas, and also on the southern motorway between Penrose and Green Lane. What's your thoughts on congestion charging?
That's it's pretty funny. It's kind of like a tyre shop throwing out nails out front of their store so they can get more clients. You completely cock up all the traffic management and everything, and all the roading, and put things in place so cars don't go well, like all those stupid little traffic lights on the edge of the motorways and things like that. So you just move all the congestion around. So you throw all these nails out in front of your tyre shop, and then you get all these new clients. So congestion charges, well, they're the ones that are causing the congestion as far as I can tell.
Well, it's exactly right. I mean, there's road cones are like stupid people. They're everywhere, right? And they don't seem to go anywhere either. They just sit there forever. The roads aren't fixed. Those stupid traffic lights, I mean, I've been talking to a couple of police officers, and they've said that they can't even stop anybody for running those red lights because they're not legal, and so therefore they don't. So it's just a blatant act of brainwashing people into compliance when the law doesn't support it. And so consequently, I just drive straight through them.
I don't understand who was the bright spark that thought those traffic lights on the edge of the motorways were a good idea. I mean, I can imagine who it was. It was somebody who had just come out of some degree in university, some BA of nothing, maybe gender affirmation or something, and they came into a job in AT and they thought, well, I just travelled over to Europe somewhere and I saw these traffic lights. I'm going to take that back to New Zealand because that's a good idea. And no one ever decided to see whether they were going to work here. No one decided to see whether they were going to fix congestion. And now you tell me they're not even legal. So that was a good spending of our taxpayer money.
And then you've got the situation where you've got traffic lights at intersections that are leading into areas that go onto the motorway. And the council's changed the phasing on them, so only about 2 or 3 cars can get through before they go red again. I mean, Barry's Point Road is a classic for that.
And they change them too, so you think you know what's going on, but next time you go there, it's completely different. I don't know what they're doing in that control room in AT. They're messing with us on purpose. I honestly believe it. And I think the congestion charges is just like a means to the end. That's the whole point, is that, whatever way we can get more money off people, let's charge them for using their cars. So that, because no one's using the cycle lane, so we've spent money on those. We want more people to use cycle lanes. So let's make the car drivers not want to get in their car and go on the cycles. And it's just another. It's further up the wedge. The thin edge of the wedge. We're sort of part way up the wedge now.
Well, Wayne Brown was elected on the basis that he was going to sort out Auckland transport, and it seems like They gave him a great big glass of Kool-Aid and a straw, and he sucked it all down, and now he's dancing from their song sheet.
It's interesting, actually, because when Wayne was elected in, I was kind of a bit suspicious of him, but I thought, well, let's give him a crack. And like you say, it seems like he's well and truly been turned around, either turned around or he was always there, who knows. But it's quite surprising coming from him with all his, buffery and the way that he acts, like he's going to sort everything out and be the hard-nosed guy and that sort of thing. But that's kind of not what he's doing here. It's really towing the line of all these councillors that are worthless and should actually be fired.
And then you've got media lovies like Simon Wilson and Russell Brown who ride around on these electric-powered cycles and lecture us all about how wonderful it is, and it'd be fantastic if we all took it up as well.
The whole electric thing is going to all come crashing down eventually. That's just a disaster waiting to happen. And it's not too far off, I don't think. Because we've had electric cars now probably around for, 5 years or something like that. All these Priuses and all the hybrids and that sort of thing. They're all starting to come undone now. Like, what are they going to do with them all? Like all these old batteries and that, what are they going to do?
Well, it's been around
where are they going?
bit longer than that. And that's the thing is, these virtue signaling, electric car drivers who seem to drive around in a cloud of smug don't realize that the end of life cost for their vehicles is enormous, and they just seem to think that it's somebody else's problem. Maybe we just ship all of the dead batteries back to the poor areas of Africa and Mongolia and give them back to them.
Yeah, dig a big hole and chuck them in there so they can mine them later on.
Well, they've been around longer than 5 years. Hole.
Yeah, I know. Dig another big hole and they can remine those. They've been around longer than 5 years, but over the last 5 years, the whole electric push has definitely ramped up a little bit more. Again, it's just another. It's just another notch in the belt of the wedge. We're travelling up to the big fat end where you will live in a 15-minute city and walk everywhere.
Yeah, no, I won't.
Yes, you will, Cam. Yes, you will. You'll do what you're told.
I won't. I've never done what I'm told. You should know that.
Yeah. Well, we're sort of you're preaching to the converted there, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Marcus, thanks for your feedback on that. We'll talk next week.
All right, buddy. Cheers, mate.
Welcome to Cam's Buddies, Jimmy.
Good afternoon, Cameron. How are you this week?
A box of birds, causing mayhem and chaos.
Enjoying the negotiations and machinations, your political...
Yeah, I'm just watching it unfold. It's beautiful to watch, really, so it's all good. Hey, you might have noticed last week, Wayne Brown announced that Auckland Council, and they voted on this as well, looked like they are going to investigate congestion pricing on the motorways of Auckland and want to stiff us $5 each way during the peak hours. What do you think about that?
It's the first time Wayne Brown's got a blot on his copybook in my books, mate.
Yeah.
I cannot believe he is going along with it. He never ran on it. It's not a sort of thing as a politician that I'd expect from him. Extra taxes, just another tax. So I don't like it at all because there's not really any alternative transport for all the tradies. I work with tradies and they have to commute all over the show, all the time. It's just going to be another tax that's going to get passed on, and it probably won't help much traffic, as we've seen around the world.
Well, actually,
that's what I think. I think bugger all of it, mate.
Yeah, Wayne Brown actually campaigned to sort out Auckland transport, and it seems like he's drunk the Kool-Aid and he's all for all of their stupid ideas.
Yeah, but when he said sort out, I thought he meant get rid of the bike lanes and get rid of all this, traffic slowing devices and pedestrian, just go back to how it was when it was, traffic used to flow. Now it's horrendous.
Yeah.
So he's not sorting it out in the way that I expected. But I guess it is kind of pragmatic approach from Brown because he can't pass the policies that we wanted. The right wing wanted. He just can't get them through. So found a solution he believes will work, and working with the Legislative Council to pass it. It is a very pragmatic politics. I disagree with it, but I kind of understand it. He doesn't want to just do nothing. So he's doing something even though he probably disagrees with it.
Yeah. The woke Womble cyclist Herald columnist Simon Wilson reckons it's a good idea. And I've gone through life, our political life, thinking anytime Simon Wilson says something's a good idea, we should do the opposite of that.
Just do the whole opposite generally. And I see a lot of the woke brigade on Twitter were enjoying Wayne's proposal, so you know that it's horrendous. It's just more tax, more socialism, more large council. Get them out of it.
I don't think
Cam.
Yeah, I don't think it would actually reduce congestion. I think it's just designed to tax ratepayers even more, so that they can keep picking our pockets to spend on these Womble projects that make things worse.
Of course, it's just another tax. It's more revenue. It's not targeted. It's not ring-fenced income. It just gets spent on more $500,000 pedestrian crossings. The pedestrian crossing should cost about $30,000.
I don't think they should cost even that much.
Insane.
Totally, and they're all these things that they're putting out there. Taking road space and turning them into cycle lanes for no cyclists. Building expensive car park buildings with heaps of parking for bikes that never gets used, expensive pedestrian crossings, road cones for Africa. Nothing is actually improving, and they still want to tax us even more for the things that they caused.
Yeah, well, also in regards to public transport, my neighbour tried to give up his car and commute to work, and he gave it a genuine go for 2 weeks, and he had to spend over 20 hours each week on multiple buses. And he'd catch one bus downtown and then another bus back out to his work.
Well, it doesn't
work. He gave
work.
it 2 weeks worth of trials, and he's given up.
It doesn't work.
It's just not fun. You can't spend 20 hours a week when it takes him maybe 25 minutes to drive to work.
Yeah, I mean, public transport is a slow, expensive way of travelling from not where you are to not where you want to be at a time that doesn't suit you in the company of people you would never let into your own home.
Well, if you worked with the council, it'd probably work because you'd work downtown. But for any other sort of thing where people have got to go out and sell stuff or go to meetings, it just doesn't work.
Or tradies.
At school. Definitely not for tradies. So
yeah.
It's just another ideological nirvana that just won't be reached. They really should work on making more traffic flow.
You know what will
creating
happen?
Better drivers,
They'll increase it. They'll put it in, and then they'll say, "Oh, it hasn't worked on reducing congestion." I know. We'll double it. It's not $5 now. It's $10.
No, because they're only suggesting two roads: the Southern Motorway and the Western Motorway. Is a study, but you know it'll end up on all the arterial roads. It'll be a massive tax, and it will never go away. It always increases. So I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it start. And I'm very disappointed that Wayne's the man that did it because I voted for him. And I've never voted for any increases in tax in my whole life.
I think Aucklanders have had enough of being told what to do. We're the ones who pay for it.
Yeah, so
and we want.
That's why we voted for Wayne.
Yeah. And now he's forcing us into this.
He's drunk the Kool-Aid and he's stiffing us. Yeah. So I think that if he does do this, it's going to be quite hard at the next election for him potentially, because I know a lot of people that voted purely for him to clean out the council.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
A lot of them are quite alarmed at this. This is not what they voted for. This is no different from him coming in and saying he's going to build more cycle lanes, which he hasn't. But the next election, they'll be going, well, who the hell do I vote for? And someone else will come along. And poor old Wayne.
We'll get the ass card. or as you like to say,
so that's my thought.
As you like to say, he'll get gassed.
Well, that's media speak, mate.
Yeah.
The gas.
All right, Jimmy, thanks for your comments on that. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, Cam. Cheers.
See you. My buddies are awesome. They never let me down. And it's fair to say they are no fans of congestion charging. Tell us who you think was the best of Cam's buddies and why by emailing inbox@realitycheck.radio or text to 2057. And don't forget to be in for a chance to win a copy of Alex Epstein's Fossil Future by texting or emailing us your future preference, either oil or electric, and why you believe that.
This is The Crunch with Cam Slater. Conversations with a side of controversy, right here on RCR.